What's poppin', everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over the top 10 best decks in the Stellar Crown format. With online events happening all around the clock, there's plenty of online results to kind of go off of, and the Stellar Crown metagame is shaping up right before Dortmund, Joinville, and the Lima special event. Whether you're going to be playing in League Cups or preparing for your first major event in this format, be sure to check this list out. If you have any guesses about what the top 10 are, let me know in the comments. We do get back to all of our comments in the comment section. That being said, let's jump into our number 10 pick. Jumping into our number 10 spot is going to be Roaring Moon EX. Now, Roaring Moon EX has seen some success at the late nights, and the list that we're going to be covering today is Lee Bui's second place finishing deck from the late night events. So he's had a really great run with them. Same kind of concept as Worlds. I think the biggest change that we made is we've got a Roaring Moon for an Iono, and we got a Squawkabilly for a second Night Stretcher. So really the goal of this deck is going to be getting out Professor Sada's Vitality, accelerating those energies, using Dark Patch to accelerate more energies, and Petron EX takes your Roaring Moon from the bench to the active to get that either Frenzy Gouging or Calamity Storm knockouts. Still going to be as effective as always in this format. It's strategies like this that are timeless. It just depends on how well they are positioned in that said metagame. So right now it seems like a good choice, but it is number 10. There's a lot of lists to go on up for, so we'll see exactly whatever decks end up at 9th all the way up to number 1. If there's any list that you want to copy and paste right into PTCGL Live, check out our description and pin comment. One of those places will usually have all the lists available for copy and paste purposes. Hopefully that helps you out on your journey, and if there's any cards you need for those, check out our sponsors at Kayfabe Cards and at PTCGL Store. That being said, let's jump into number 9 and run through the rest of this list. Falling down from last week to number 9 this week is Lugia V-Star. Now, Lugia V-Star, like Roaring Moon EX, hasn't really gained anything from Stellar Crown. So you'll see a lot of the decks that didn't really gain much still exist in this format. They've just shifted down a little bit, and they're waiting for the meta game to kind of open up. We have a very Kieran, Farah, second place finisher at Baltimore inspired list, just going more with a heavier Chinchino line because there are quite a few stage 2 Pokemon EX decks in this format, such as Charizard EX and Dragapult. Our goal with this deck, as always, is going to be using Lugia V-Star Summoning Star to summon 2 Archeops into play, accelerating energies to your various Pokemon, and having options across the board to really knock out our opponent's Pokemon, whatever they have going on with us. I think this turbo consistent version of the deck is probably one of the best ways to be playing it. So if there's anything that you want to change up about it, let me know. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty solid Lugia list across the board, and it might be a great play for any of the upcoming majors in the next format. At number 8, we have Maridon EX, and Maridon EX has seen some big changes as of recently because we're looking at it as a way to now use Area 0 Underdepths, utilizing that Terra-type Mewtwo to have a large bench. With us having that large bench, we have all these cool tech cards such as Iron Bundle, Radiant Greninja, Squawkabilly Fez, Mew EX, you name it, but we're also increasing the damage of Raikou V's attack to do even more damage, especially with Palkia V-Star seeing success in this format. Having a lightning type advantage can be quite strong. The rest of the deck is just going to be using Maridon to fetch your lightning type Pokemon, using Electric Generator to power them up, and really Raikou is now the star of the show, giving you that damage output the deck didn't previously have. The build is looking pretty spicy with the 16 energies. We should be getting out those energies pretty easily when it comes to electric generators. So if you're a Maridon believer and you're looking for something to fully believe in, check out this new build with Area 0 Underdepths. That card continues to impress me in our Stellar Crown formats. Hopping into number 7, we have Gardevoir EX. Gardevoir EX, like many of the other decks, kind of towards the bottom, didn't really gain much from Stellar Crown. This list features no new cards, except for those beautiful new energies that you see at the bottom. Just the basic energies you rip out of the packs. I really like the kind of crystal Stellar Crown look to them. Gardevoir EX is really just accelerating energies to your various Psychic-type Pokemon, and you might find cards that might slow your opponent down, like Klefki or Fluttermane, or Pokemon that might score a knockout with Drifloon or anything else like that. The only thing that I've really added into this deck, which is fairly common, is Technical Machine De-Evolution, with decks like Dragapult and decks like Charizard EX seeing success in this format. I could see cards like Technical Machine De-Evolution, Eerie, etc. seeing play in these decks, as we've seen in previous formats where those decks were successful. Gardevoir is just really waiting to see if its meta positioning is good or not, and then it will either see success like it did at Baltimore, or kind of take a step back and wait for Surging Sparks to come out in November. At number 6, we have Snorlax Control, that's slowing down the metagame by retreat locking our opponent's Pokemon, and of course we have those kind of barrier Pokemon in the form of Cornerstone, Ogerpon, and Mimikyu that seem quite well integrated into this format. It's one of those things where decks like this typically don't do well at the beginning of the format, but considering Stellar Crown added so little cards to our format where we can now understand where those cards are added, I think it's one of those things where Snorlax can kind of accurately predict the top 10 to 20 decks and their relative placement in formats to see success. Kind of went with more of an energy denial build with the handheld fan, the Giacomo, stuff like that to really like kind of push this deck to that next level. Cards that I would consider adding into this deck would be the new Comfey and Psychic Energy to try to mill your opponent a little bit more out. But we've also seen players adding in a single copy of Squovitz that can mill the top card of your opponent's deck. Is Snorlax going to stay up at number 6? Honestly, it could either spike up from here or go right down. I think we're going to see some movement next week as we head into Joinville and Dortmund, but we'll have to find out. Tearing it up at the middle of this list is going to be Raging Bolt EX. Now, Raging Bolt EX hasn't really changed too much, except we've added Briar into this deck. Last week, I believe I showcased a colorless build of this deck with Area 0 Underdepths because Teal Mask Ogerpon can activate that. I've since gone back to consistent, aggressive Raging Bolt and seeing if it gets set up every single time. Really cutting a Teal Mask Ogerpon for a second copy of Night Stretcher and finding room for a Disruption card. I believe I cut a Pokemon Catcher from that. So we really have kind of everything we're looking for here. I'm assuming most lists are going to be looking really similar to this. Goal is to use Professor Sada's and Teal Mask Ogerpon, load a bunch of energies into play, and let go of them with Bellowing Thunder when it comes to Raging Bolt EX. We'll have to see how the rest of this deck plays out because it's either going to be well positioned or not. But I believe most of the decks in the top 4 are going to be staying there relatively for a while because they are either A, new, B, successful, and C, really well positioned right now into the metagame as far as it seems. Sliding into number 4 is going to be Regidrago V-Star, arguably the most successful deck out of our Shrouded Fable formats, and now it's kind of coming back up. It was placed a little bit below, and people are like, yeah, you want to know the format hasn't changed too much. We can kind of tack this deck out to however we want, using both Rowan Stave now and Ian Robb's list as inspiration, going with that one Dragapult. I mean, I did make that tweet a while ago where I was like, hey, I think we get away with this, and I think we can get away with it when it comes down to it. Just to fit in some of the more interesting cards, such as Jamming Tower, Cleffa, the Superior Energy Retrieval. The goal of this deck is to get those Dragon Pokemon in your discard pile. Regidrago can copy any of those Dragon Pokemon, including Pokemon Stage 2, V-Stars, whatever, as long as you have the Grass, Fire to use the attack. And then Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can get those extra energies in play, energy switch them over, making this deck one of the most just powerful decks we've seen in the game, and really just one of the most powerful decks in formats. This is really a case of Regidrago can kind of adapt to any metagame. I think it's going to still continue to see success. See if there's any trends, add any new attackers, but otherwise this is a very solid version of the deck. One of the biggest decks in this format is going to be Palkia V-Star, coming back largely because of Area 0 Underdepths. For the same reason that we see Raikou kind of rising, we have the opportunity to increase our bench size and do more damage. That allows us to also play Noctowl, which works well with the Terra Pokemon that we have in our deck, that are Terapagos and Wellspring Ogerpon, alongside a handful of other things. I kind of like the Blissey package in this deck. For me, the Blissey package sounds great because we can move energies with Glass Cannon over to our other Pokemon, maybe getting a Radiant Greninja out for a second time. Really, Palkia is going to self-power up itself or other Pokemon, large bench, attack. We got a whole bunch of different techs that Noctowl can search out, and of course, a handful of different attackers that can work out at the same time. This deck seems like if someone breaks the deck and gets every single card that they want in that deck, it's going to be really one of the best decks. And right now it's at number 3. Maybe it's going to go down, maybe it's going to go up, but I think it's really one of the top decks in this format. Just unsure on the absolute final build of it. At number 2, we have Dragapult EX, and like most of the decks towards the top, it did gain quite a bit from Stellar Crown. In this case, we gained Crispin to accelerate extra energies, Briar, which we can draw extra prize cards with, and of course, Sparkling Crystal to reduce our energy attack cost with. So our goal is to really get Dragapult EX set up a little bit better than we ever could before, using Crispin and Sparkling Crystal to kind of smooth over any cracks in the foundation that this deck previously had. We have Pidgeot to search out whatever we want, and of course we have that end of game Briar, where we could either Briar because our opponent's at 2 prize cards, or forcefully put our opponent at 2 prize cards with Dusknoir. We have a decent like energy spread on here with just a 3/3 Psychic Fire, so we should be able to get our attacks powered up. We're really looking at 2/3 Dragapult setup with Night Stretcher, Super Rod, and just attacking. It's really one of those cases where Dragapult's incredibly strong. We didn't have all the right tools before. It was still seeing some success. This might take it to that next level, and we have seen players really taking it to the next level. What do you think our deck's going to be at number 1? Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, give this video a like, share, subscribe, and let's see what we got at number 1. At number 1, we have Charizard EX with Pidgeot and Dusknoir. So very similar to the last deck, except we're replacing basically the Dragapult line with the Charizard line. Charizard does it a little bit better in my opinion, because not only does our attack increase as the game progresses, we can now use Dusknoir to get ourselves to that point where we can Briar, and we could actually knock out whatever Pokemon we want. So instead of going for the spread damage, we're going for more of a aggro approach. I like all the different cards that we could fit in here, and the self-acceleration aspect of Charizard. Our goal is to get out Charizard, increase our damage as we go throughout the game, search for whatever energies. Pidgeot can search out any piece that we need, making this deck string together. Even though you wouldn't think a deck with all these stage 2 Pokemon would work, it just works together masterfully. And I think this is really going to be one of the top choices for many top players as we enter into these Stellar Crown legal events as soon as they're available. So we're still in the Shrouded Fable format, but as soon as the set becomes legal on September 27th, I think a lot of people are going to be playing this in our next formats. Let me know what you think. Is Charizard the BDIF? Is it not? What deck do you have countering it? Let me know in the comments below. Alongside, if there's any content you want to see from the squad, whether it's a live stream from a certain member, or you want to see a certain deck profile, let us know, and we'll try our best to get to it. Let me close things out. And there we have it, another week of the top 10 best decks. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear back from every single person. And remember, you can copy and paste any of these lists available from the pinned comment right into PTCG Live. And if you need any cards, check out Kayfabe Cards and PTCGL store to get anything you need, whether it's in real life or online. If you're looking to improve your game, hit me up for some coaching on Metafy. All that's available in the description. Other than that, I will catch up with you soon with some more videos. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.